50 government buildings in KwaZulu-Natal have been damaged by the floods that ravaged the province this past week. It's estimated that billions of rands is now needed to repair those buildings. Let's speak to Public Works and Infrastructure Minister Patricia Lille, who visited the area and joins us now to give us more perspective on the extent, Minister, of the damage there. And this includes magistrates' courts, police stations, military bases, and a museum, in fact.
Yes, good morning, Michelle. Yes, in fact, it's very heartbreaking and devastating. Devastation that we've seen here, and that we have already got a multidisciplinary team of architects, engineers, quantity surveyors that have started the assessment so that we can begin to estimate the cost of repairs, the extent of the damage, and also the time that it will take for restoration. I visited the military base yesterday, the Air Force, more than 11 buildings there, completely flooded. The hangars, some of the helicopters can't get out of the hangars because of the mud in there. And we are working together with the province, MEC Sabia, and today I am meeting with Minister Kubai Kubani and also MEC Sabia, where we are also going to make some national state-owned land available for possible resettlement of many of the communities that have got nowhere to go. So it is absolutely devastating.
Minister, I think perhaps some important perspective, particularly yes, for people who are impacted by what's unfolding in KwaZulu-Natal, is to talk to us about your department and where its priorities are now and what its responsibilities are, I should say. Because a lot of people will argue that there's been so much damage, even before the floods, to particular buildings in KwaZulu-Natal. Now billions of rand is needed to repair the damage. This is work we could have done before this happened.
Well, Michelle, we have planned to build 24 rural bridges in KZN in the current financial year. We've now added an extra 6 rural bridges, one that I visited yesterday. It's painful to see women and children having to cross over big stones and rocks, to get to the other side for children to go to school. So certainly that is a key priority. The Department of Defense and my department has already started the assessments. I have advised that we need to prioritize those bridges where it impacts the most on families. And so the idea here is that we need to put all our resources in there to build the infrastructure, to repair the infrastructure. Yes, maybe we've not been doing too well when it comes to maintenance of infrastructure. And you can see as a result of that the devastation is even worse. But we are working together with the provincial government, MEC Sabia and his team. And I can assure you, Michelle, that people have come from all over the country, from all provinces. We are all on the ground right now. Later, I will be meeting with Minister Kubai and the MEC to discuss where to resettle. We have started to do a verification of the land. We started to look at the suitability of the land before we move people and resettle them on land that is much more suitable for human settlements.
Yeah. So, Minister, while I have you, I want to talk about that resettlement process in just a moment. But while I have you on the line, given the difficulties that so many residents in provinces around the country face getting from one place to another, particularly due to a lack of proper bridges linking various areas. You've talked to us about 24 plus 6, I think that was the number, but particularly in KwaZulu-Natal. But around the country, what is the number, particularly in KZN and the Eastern Cape as well? What is the number of bridges that are in need and have yet to be built around our country?
In terms of the State of the Nation commitments that the President has made, Our target is 95 bridges for this year, mostly in KZN, the Eastern Cape, Limpopo, and the Free State, and in Mpumalanga. And so that plan, we have already done the operational plan. We've received the money from National Treasury, about 1 billion. So we have got a program to deal with rural bridges across the country. So that is work in progress and has already begun. Infrastructure South Africa, led by Dr. Ramagopa, they have done the scoping, the costing. The professional teams has put the plans together. The Department of Defense is playing a major role in that they are helping us to put up these Bailey bridges. It takes about 4 to 6 weeks. And in the process, we also bring in young professionals, engineers, quantity surveyors to help, and then also create jobs for the local communities by invoking EPWP. So it's all work in progress, and we normally give an update about progress every 3 months. And since the start of the financial year on the 1st of April, we've already started. So it's all work in progress, but there's still a lot more to be done.
Yeah.
The provinces have assisted us in identifying where those bridges need to be built. And like in KwaZulu-Natal, the MEC has already committed money for an extra 6 bridges, which we have not budgeted for. So really, we are trying to pull everybody together to repair and replace infrastructure as soon as possible.
So let's talk about the settlement of communities, Minister, particularly in KwaZulu-Natal in the wake of the floods. What we are being told is that we need to wait for the land to settle down before the provision of temporary housing can even happen. Do you have at this point, I know that your engineers have been on site in KZN, do you have timelines for us at this point?
Well, the first thing is that we need to engage with the communities and convince them that their current settlements, it's not safe. They've seen that we've lost over 400 of 400 South Africans. And so that consultation has started. In terms of identifying land, we need to make sure that the land is suitable for human settlements. So our geotech teams are out there testing the sand and the ground to make sure about that. So we will only be able to give you an accurate estimate about, one, the cost, the extent of the damage, after my meeting today with Minister Kubai and MEC Sabia, and then we will be putting timelines. We have identified land both in the rural areas and in the urban areas, and it's going to be a matter of prioritizing where people have been the worst affected by the floods. It's all work in progress.
Yeah, it certainly is, and hopefully we'll speak to you again in the coming weeks, Minister, to get an update on how that work is progressing. Patricia Lille is the Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, joining us for the latest there on the situation in KZN and her department's response.